Australians love sugar. We can't get enough of it. Each of us consume more than 30 kilograms a year. But are we loving it to death? New explosive research says it's just as harmful and deadly as tobacco and alcohol. Peter Fitzsimons has taken the matter personally, very personally.
There are few sights as spectacular as the sugar fields being set alight before the harvest. But these days, not all is sweet with sugar.
They know that when they add the sugar to the food, they know we buy more.
This is a substance as addictive as nicotine, which is embedded in everything we consume.
Growing up, I was firmly told the worst thing a spoonful of sugar on my cereal could give me was a toothache. But lately I've been wondering, did sugar also make me fat? Obesity is just one of the crimes that food's new bad guy, sugar, is being accused of.
It gives us type 2 diabetes, it gives us heart disease, it gives us fatty liver disease, it encourages the growth of cancer. All of those things are the reason I call it a poison.
At my flabbiest, I was 144 kilos heavy. A far cry from this young man.
3, 2, 1, go.
This was me at my peak. Back then, I was playing rugby union for my country and was even nominally ranked as the third fittest person in Australia.
But it's Fitzsimons who takes the points and the overall lead.
Australia's greatest athlete, you're looking at him.
Is that right?
But here on holiday with my family in Africa a few months ago, I realised there was a lot more for my wife to cuddle than ever before.
You'll love it, Dad. It's fantastic.
And Charlie, when he says go, do it. Can I have a kiss?
Yes. I was frankly worried the bungee cord would snap.
3, 2, 1, swing!
In my holiday photos, it was obvious that the difference between me and the elephant beside me was only a few kilos and a red bandana. So there I was, New Year's Day, fat as a fool, getting no change from 144 kilos in the shade. Then I read this book, Sweet Poison. It has a very simple premise. If you wipe sugar out of your diet, you actually feel less hungry, and then you end up losing lots of weight. Too easy, Campese. Where do I sign? David Gillespie, the author of Sweet Poison, was once fat too, weighing in at 122 kilograms. Since he stopped sugar, he's lost 40 kilos. This year it's sugar. A couple of years ago it was salt. Before that it was the Atkins diet. Before that again, I don't know what, the carbohydrate diet. I mean, why is this one any different to any other one?
Because I'm not selling a diet. I'm not selling you some magic potion that you've got to go and buy or anything like that. Yes, there's a book about it, but I'll tell you what the book says. It says don't eat sugar. Done.
David is a lawyer and says the evidence against sugar is compelling.
Sugar damages us in multiple ways. The first way is that it's converted immediately to fat by our liver.
I've got that part.
But it's only a bad thing if we're eating vast quantities of the stuff. There's a much more insidious effect which it has, which is it interferes with two of our appetite control hormones, the hormones that tell us to stop eating everything.
Yep. So
we have this substance that's directly turned into fat and gives our bodies permission to eat more of everything.
It was in the early 1800s that sugar was first able to be mass-produced cheaply.
All over the world, millions are reaching for Kellogg's new Sugar Frosties.
By the turn of last century, food companies were licking their lips.
These new Kellogg Sugar Frosties are shot with sugar, packed with two-fisted muscle-building energy.
They knew they were onto an absolute goldmine. It started appearing in everything. Chocolate was invented around the turn of the 20th century. Soft drinks were invented around the turn of the 20th century, all as vehicles for carrying this brand new white gold that they knew they put it in something, it sells like crazy.
That a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Here's a way of thinking about it. Our ancestors, they really only had sugar 1 month a year. It was called harvest time. The fruit would drop from the tree. They would eat it. When we only had a small amount of sugar, it was fine. But now, this amount, it's killing us.
In San Francisco, I found Dr. Robert Lustig, a world authority on obesity and one of sugar's harshest critics.
It's ingrained in our DNA. Even babies know that if it's sweet, it's safe. And so the food industry has basically utilized that evolutionary principle to their own benefit.
Hey, Nutella.
As my search for answers about sugar continued, I met the Spencer family.
Mummy!
This is how they shopped until 2 months ago. They tried to buy healthy, but also tried to keep the kids happy. When son Jackson turned 4, the sugar highs hit a new low.
My son's birthday's a week before Christmas, so the combination of all the sugary birthday food, cakes and Christmas just accumulated into him being completely unbearable. And I just sat down and explained to him one day that the sugar's making him crazy and we have to stop it.
The Spencers went cold turkey. No sweets, cereals or fruit juice, which I learnt is full of sugar. And after you cut sugar out of his diet, did you notice a gradual or an immediate change?
It was pretty much immediate. His sleeping patterns, his routine came back into line again and just a happier kid all round.
No sugar does take getting used to, and it doesn't mean denying yourself everything. Have a look at breakfast. A month in, I dropped 10 kilos. My touch footy mates were noticing the weight slip off me.
So what do you do to lose the weight, Pete?
Well, I've had no sugar whatsoever.
And what about the grog?
I've had 5 days. I couldn't say exactly how long without the grog, but I think 5 days, 4 hours and 3 minutes.
We've been told that cereals are often full of sugar, but healthier looking food can be worse.
Trouble is that when you turn it over and look at the fine print on the back, you see that it's 80% sugar. There's more sugar in that than there is in chocolate. There's more sugar in that than there is in most lollies.
I was shocked. That's organic apple snacks. Right there, it's got no added sugar. And when you read the fine print, it's actually 80% sugar. Does that shock you?
No, it's fruit. Are we going to ban fruit? Do you really want to ban apples and oranges and bananas?
And Queensland Senator Ron Boswell has another point. Sugar means jobs. 17,000 Australians are employed by the industry. We're the world's 3rd largest raw sugar supplier. But critics like Robert Lustig argue sugar's harm outweighs any benefits. He wants punitive taxes and age restrictions on the sale of soft drinks. Therefore, you should be over 18 years old before you can drink a Coke.
That would be my suggestion.
Well, that's just a ludicrous proposition. What does he want someone to turn up with their licence or their age identity and produce that before they buy a can of Coke?
Yes.
Well, put that to the people and he will be laughed out of Australia.
He's a passionate advocate of it. He is a scientist. He's gone through the research. His premise is that sugar is killing us.
It's a natural product. Taken in moderation, it doesn't do anyone any harm.
I need to open this city's eyes to what's going on.
This is the stuff I've got to do to get people to pay attention.
1 8-ounce little tub of flavoured milk has 28 grams of sugar. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pump this bus, this icon of trust, full of 1 week's worth of added sugar just for flavoured milk in the LAUSD.
TV chef Jamie Oliver wanted Californian parents to know how much sugar was in the chocolate milk their kids were drinking.
OK, guys, you think we're done? We are done. We're done now.
We hear from one side that sugar is toxic. On the other, people say, oh, no, it's OK in moderation. Where do you fit?
Well, it's not tough at all, actually. Sweetness is joy. It's happiness. It's in our DNA to be drawn to sweet fruit, to honey. But the massive part of the problem is that there is sugar hidden in everything.
Right.
Whether it's flavoured milk, whether it's bread, whether it's spreads, whether it's sauces, whether it's all kinds of food additives. It's just laden in everything. And I think that's where the out-of-controlness gets.
On a wet Wednesday night in the Oliver household, when you're on dinner, which I presume is most nights, do you feed your kids dessert with sugar?
Twice a week.
Yeah.
Twice a week. I mean, they'll have fruit, fruit and yoghurt.
Soft drink in the fridge?
Never, ever.
Flavoured milk?
Never, ever.
7 glorious weeks without a spoonful of sugar, and my own decision to cut out sugar was put to the test again. I'd lost 13.5 kilos. It was like magic. And then I met this bloke.
There's nothing magical about it.
But for me, it's magic. I've been on the yo-yo diet for the last 25 years, 30 years, up and down and up and down, and I simply get rid of sugar, and it's just going down before my very eyes.
Most people can sustain these kinds of diets for about 6 months, but by 12 months, they've gone back to their old eating habits. We've got to stop thinking about food as the enemy. We've got to get back to basics, real foods, whole ingredients. So, Shirley, what would you have had for breakfast this morning?
Dr. Alan Barclay, the chief scientist of the Glycaemic Index Foundation, which argues a moderate amount of sugar should be a part of a healthy diet. He makes an interesting point, which would be stronger if the foundation didn't accept money from food companies selling products with sugar.
All I can say is that we endorse foods that have been tested according to their GI that meet strict nutrition criteria, and part of that endorsement process there is a licence fee to use the logo on foods that meet our nutrition.
That's the very long answer. The bottom line is that we the people, and I'm one of them, we don't know. I
think we've answered that question, Peter.
All right, I don't think we have.
Last week, 128.3.
Let's go.
This week, survey says...
126.8. Well done, Pete.
Does it surprise you? No joke, 8 weeks ago, I stopped all processed foods, all sugar, and I'm dropped 17 kilos. Does that surprise you?
No, not at all.
How am I looking?
You look good. If I was a woman, I would.
Here we go, the moment of truth on the scales of justice.
I've lost 20 kilos.
Yes!
So how much is 20 kilos? It's that much. That is how much weight I have lost in just 2 months. The weird thing is, I didn't cut out sausages. I just cut out sugar.